Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I have been doing a gay movie marathon and been going through some of the more tragic movies. And last one was a very tragic true story, Soldier's Girl, the story of Barry Winchell and Calpurnia Adams. It's a true story, of course, from the 90s. Um, it was made in 2003 for Showtime, and it got a lot of good reviews. Basically, it's the story of a army private who goes to live on barracks with the other officers, and he ends up being put in a room with one guy who's pretty disturbed. He's one of those homophobic guys who seems to be obsessed with gay people. He goes to gay bars, watches drag queens, makes out with them, but insists that he's not gay, but they are. So it's just one of those messed up um, people. And he takes this guy to the gay bar to watch a drag show. He's never seen a drag show or anything. He falls for one of the performers, Calpurnia Adams. She's a transsexual, partly through the transition. Um, they fall for each other. They have a romance. He struggles through it, but um, they seem to have a fairly solid relationship. It gets to the point where he starts to get harassed by the other men in the unit because his roommate is telling everyone that he's a fag and everything, and just he's obsessed with that. And a younger guy comes into the unit who is very damaged and insecure, of course, and has to prove how much of a man he is and everything. And he's all telling big stories about doing bank robberies and stuff like this. And this guy is manipulating him and pitting the two against each other just because some really twisted people just like to see if they can mess with people, if they can get away with doing things, if they can get people to do things, if they can manipulate people. They feel like they are strong or achieving something or in control, or they just enjoy messing people's lives and destroying people's lives. It's just disgusting human beings as far as I'm concerned. So he manipulates this insecure younger guy into killing Barry. He is basically asleep in bed. He was supposed to be at Calpurnia's. She was entering in a competition which she won. She's performing on stage, and while she's performing on stage, these guys go out, get drunk, come back, and the older officer, the former roommate, because he did move out because they were fighting, and he was sleeping like sort of in a little attic area or something that wasn't like a room, so it was just open to anyone. They woke him up. They had a bit of a confrontation. He went back to bed, and the older officer was bullying the younger officer again. Are you going to let that faggot, do this, do that? Why don't you, go and take care of him? He'd already shown in this bat, so he takes the bat and he goes out and beats his head in while he's sleeping. And it's reasonably graphic. There's one shot of him actually beating his head, like a medium shot. It must be a prosthetic, and it's fairly good. Although I was watching a 240p resolution video on YouTube with no soundtrack, so whenever there was a song, the whole section was silent, including dialogue. So not the best viewing experience, but that shot looked fairly disturbing. I'm not sure how realistic it would have looked in proper resolution, but it was pretty horrible. Even though I knew it was coming because I know the story, I've seen the documentaries. Yeah, and he did die. Somehow they took an hour to get him to a hospital. And yeah, Calpurnia found out on the radio that he died. She fully transitioned and sort of became a little bit of a not celebrity, but she became a bit of an activist. And there was a lot of press over what happened, and it did cause a bit of a stir back in the day. It was 1999. So it was a year after Matthew Shepard. The guy was a year older. And it's just really tragic because, you know, they probably could have had a wonderful life together. And, you know, if he'd just gone to the show to support her instead of being afraid, because he didn't want to go because he was getting harassed, and it was becoming, even the senior officers and that were starting to, it's just homophobia in the military. I mean, you know, in the 90s. This was during Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which is mentioned in the film, and it's just tragic and it's sad. But it's a good film, and you know, it's good that, you know, he's not forgotten. Yeah, this is sad. I'm gonna go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. It is on YouTube.